Hello and welcome. My name is Latif Warnick. I'm excited to bring you the first of what will be many videos from One Soul discussing yoga, spirituality, meditation, holistic living, universal love, social change, or just whatever current affairs I may feel like addressing at the time. I wanted to start off by telling you a little bit about One Soul, why I created it, and a little bit about myself. For starters, One Soul is an acronym for One Source of Universal Love. One Soul actually represents a number of things. It is a spiritual movement, it is a book publishing company, it's also the umbrella for Concept Utopia, Entrepreneurs, and Kings and Queens Inc. I'll get into those a little bit more at another time. Now, in order to better understand One Soul, it's important you probably know a little bit about me. I'm a military veteran, a certified life coach, a licensed financial advisor, a yogi, speaker, a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and a graduate of Savannah State University and Armstrong State University. I'm also a spiritual author of Know Thyself to Awaken Self-Realization and The Golden Egg, Creating Prosperity from Within, with a few more to come. Originally from the South Bronx, I lived in a lot of different places. I have one older brother, and my father is the fourth of 5 kids. My mother is the 7th of 12 kids. Now, according to my mother, when she was a child, she was one of the first ones in her family to go to church by herself. After doing this for a while, her father came to her. He called her Franny girl. He said, "Hey, Franny, if you go to church next Sunday, wake me up, I'll go with you." He went, he decided he liked it, and once he went, that meant everyone in the family had to go. Now, ironically, she also became the first one to become dissatisfied with the church and left. She would go on to get more into metaphysics, New Age teachings, some Eastern readings as well. And so that's kind of how I came to the world, me and my brother. So I really wasn't told to follow any particular religious faith. We were encouraged to do a lot of reading, ask a lot of questions, and kind of come to answers on our own. I had a lot of family members who were Seventh-day Adventists, Jehovah's Witnesses, Baptists, Muslims. So I had a lot of exposure to a lot of different religious faiths. And for me, I came to kind of realize in the early age that a lot of the teachings were very similar. Basically teaching you how to live by a moral code, but then some teachings went a little deeper to really tell you about what I consider Jesus' teaching, which was the kingdom of God is within you. Through further study and research, I found that all the world's major religions also seem to have a mystic version as well. So for Christianity, there's Gnosticism. For Islam, there's Sufism. For Judaism, there's Kabbalism. Also Hinduism, Buddhism, Taoism. All those tend to be kind of mystic in essence. Now, on a quick side note, my grandmother used to like to play the numbers. Anybody from New York knows something about the numbers. In an effort to hit the numbers more frequently, she began reading stuff on astrology, interpreting dreams, and some teachings that came from the East. One of the books she stumbled on was Paramahansa Yogananda. Ironically, at the age of 12, my brother brought me my first book from Paramahansa Yogananda entitled Man's Eternal Quest. So I began reading that book very feverishly, just really digesting, absorbing everything in it. That led me to reading other teachings from Swami Vivekananda, Sri Yukteswar, and a lot of the more teachings from the East, the Vedas, Buddhism, so on and so forth. So I felt that kind of tied in with a lot of the traditionally Western teachings of Christianity and so forth. And for me, that kind of led me, or at least started me on my spiritual journey. I began to really absorb and read as many books of this nature that I can get my hands on. I didn't want to just really read it intellectually. I want to absorb it and practice the teachings that were in there, from meditating to breathing exercises, pranayama, and just really eating properly and living properly. Now, fast forward to 1999. After 10 years of serving the Navy, I decided to get out and go back to New York to try and chase my ambitions of becoming an independent record label owner. Did relatively well with that, but in the meantime, I was also working in the investment industry in New York City. One of my bosses took a liking to me. She took me up under her wing, exposed me to a lot of the big wigs in the company, and actually got me an interview down at the World Trade Center. I did the interview, went well, but I actually didn't hang around long enough to find out if I ever got the job or not. I actually decided to relocate to Atlanta, Georgia. The reasons behind that, I'll tell that story at another time. But as we know, about 7 months after I left, 9/11 happened. I kind of look back and think to myself, I could have been in that building along with those other people that day. Now, as tragic as that day was, to me, the aftermath was just as bad. we had a lot of division, divisiveness, not just within our own country, but kind of around the world. You know, Christian versus Muslim, East versus West, just the same ongoing story. But a lot of my friends and colleagues, for the first time, heard them express some ideas and sentiments that really made me cringe. And I guess a lot of them thought I shared their sentiment, maybe because I was a veteran or because they assumed I was a religious person. But for me, again, feeling like a lot of the religions around the world have in essence the same teaching, I saw the correlations. So what I began doing, rather than buy into this tug of war, I tried to really incorporate what Dr. Martin Luther King taught us, which is darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. So I began writing down my ideas of what I had learned over the years of self-study, and those thoughts and ideas actually evolved into a book, my first book, again, which was Know Thyself to Awaken Self-Realization. But I want to do a little bit more than just write a book. I want to create my own imprint. That's what kind of gave birth to One Soul. Again, One Soul for me was an acronym for One Source of Universal Love. I wanted to do something to kind of bring people together. And I feel like in spite of our differences in religion or faith or race, if we all could focus on a commonality of love and humanity, then we can kind of overcome those differences and learn to work together as one. As I started with, this is just the first in a series of what will be many more videos. I invite everyone watching this video to join us at One Soul. Follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. My username is Self-Awakened, so you can find us. Of course, you can just look at the bottom of this video and see all the links that will lead you to different groups that you can join. So, One Soul is essentially a social network, a spiritual movement, all in the name of love. Until next time, many rivers, one ocean, many branches, one tree, many paths, one destination, many stories, one truth. We are one. Blessings and namaste.